What if everything you've been told about turning 80 is wrong? Picture this. Margaret sits in her favorite chair at dawn, watching the sunrise with her coffee, feeling more clarity and peace than she has in decades. Yet when friends ask how she's doing, she apologizes for going to bed early, for saying no to exhausting social events, for the quiet joy she's discovered in smaller circles. She feels guilty about changes that are actually gifts. Here's the truth no one wants to admit. We've been trained to see aging as nothing but loss, decline, and limitation. We apologize for the very adaptations that could make our later years the richest of our lives. At 80, your body isn't breaking down, it's reorganizing. Your mind isn't failing, it's focusing on what truly matters. Your social world isn't shrinking, it's refining itself into something more meaningful than you ever thought possible. Today, I'm going to share the 5 inevitable changes that happen when you turn 80, and why each one, when understood correctly, can unlock a level of freedom and fulfillment that might surprise you. Because what if your 80s aren't about what you're losing, but about finally becoming exactly who you were meant to be? Number 1. Transformation of physical energy and sleep patterns. At 8:30 in the evening, Lucille felt her eyelids growing heavy. For months, she fought this urge, embarrassed that she wanted to sleep when her friends were just settling in for their favorite television shows. She thought something was wrong with her body, that she was becoming weak or sick. The guilt ate at her as she apologized to her daughter for leaving family dinners early, for declining evening social events that once brought her joy. What Lucille didn't understand was that her body wasn't failing her. It was actually becoming more efficient. At 82, her internal clock had shifted to match a new rhythm, one designed specifically for this stage of life. Her early bedtime wasn't weakness, it was wisdom. Her 5 a.m. awakening wasn't insomnia, it was her body's way of giving her the gift of quiet, peaceful morning hours, when her mind was sharpest and her spirit most calm. This transformation happens whether we fight it or embrace it. Your circadian rhythm shifts naturally, moving your energy peaks to the morning and early afternoon hours. Around 2 p.m., you'll feel a pronounced dip, much stronger than when you were younger. Your deep sleep decreases, while light sleep increases, causing more nighttime stirring. But here's what changes everything. When you stop fighting this new rhythm and start working with it, magic happens. Lucille discovered this when she finally surrendered to her body's wisdom. She began scheduling her most important tasks for the morning, when her energy soared. She moved her social visits to early afternoon, right after lunch when she felt most engaged. When that 2 p.m. dip arrived, instead of forcing herself through it, she allowed herself a 20-minute rest. She dimmed her lights after dinner, put away her phone, and honored her body's call for earlier sleep. The result? She felt more vibrant and productive than she had in years. Her mind was clearer in the mornings than it had been in decades. Her afternoon conversations with friends became richer because she wasn't fighting fatigue. She realized her body hadn't betrayed her. It had actually optimized itself for deeper satisfaction and better living. When you align with this new rhythm instead of resisting it, you don't lose energy, you redirect it toward what matters most. Number 2. Natural evolution of social life. Eugene stared at his phone, scrolling through the contacts he rarely called anymore. His poker group had dissolved when 2 members moved to assisted living and another couldn't drive at night. His old work buddies seemed to drift away, their conversations feeling hollow, focused on complaints about health or politics that left him feeling drained. At 81, he felt like his social world was shrinking, and he worried he was becoming isolated and irrelevant. But Eugene was experiencing something profound, not loss. His heart was guiding him away from shallow connections towards something much more meaningful. The casual acquaintances who once filled his calendar no longer satisfied his soul. Those surface-level interactions that used to feel sufficient now felt like they were stealing precious time from more important connections. This isn't about becoming antisocial or giving up on friendship. It's about your emotional intelligence reaching a new level of sophistication. Your tolerance for small talk decreases because your appreciation for meaningful conversation increases. You start gravitating toward people who share your current stage of life, who understand the unique joys and challenges of being 80. Quality becomes infinitely more important than quantity. Eugene's breakthrough came when he started volunteering at a literacy program. There, he met other retirees who shared his desire to contribute something meaningful to the world. The conversations flowed deeper, touching on purpose and legacy rather than just weather and complaints. These new friendships energized him in ways his old social circles never had. He realized he hadn't lost his social life, he had evolved it. Your family relationships often deepen during this transition too. As you become more selective with your social energy, the time you invest in children and grandchildren becomes richer and more intentional. You're no longer spread thin across dozens of superficial connections, so you can offer your full presence to the relationships that truly nourish your soul. Let old friendships fade without guilt. Seek new connections in purposeful places, and trust that this natural refinement is leading you toward the most satisfying social life you've ever known. Number 3. Profound shift in relationship with time and priorities. Ruby sat in yet another committee meeting, listening to the same arguments about church fundraising that had been circling for months. At 83, she found herself thinking about her garden at home, the tomatoes that needed tending, the flowers she wanted to plant. She realized she was spending her precious hours on things that drained her spirit instead of activities that made her come alive. For the first time, she wondered why she kept saying yes to obligations that felt empty when time itself felt more precious than ever. This awakening hits most of us around 80. Time takes on a different quality, not because there's less of it, but because we finally understand its true value. The social pressures that once drove our decisions begin to fade. The need to appear busy, successful, or involved loses its grip. Instead, a powerful clarity emerges about what deserves your energy and what doesn't. The fear of missing out that dominated younger years gets replaced by something much more satisfying: the joy of intentional living. You develop the courage to say no without elaborate explanations or guilt. Activities done purely for appearances or obligation start feeling not just unnecessary, but actually harmful to your well-being. Your inner compass becomes stronger, pointing you toward experiences that genuinely feed your soul. Ruby made a decision that surprised everyone, including herself. She resigned from her church committees and devoted those hours to her garden. Her family worried she was withdrawing, but the opposite happened. She bloomed. Her energy returned. Her joy in life multiplied. She had more interesting stories to share because she was finally doing work that matched her authentic interests. Her garden became a source of pride, beauty, and connection with neighbors who stopped to admire her flowers. This shift creates what psychologists call crystallized wisdom, the ability to see clearly what truly matters and act on that knowledge. You start having important conversations you've been postponing. You pursue hobbies that were always pushed aside. You adapt your living space to support your comfort rather than impress others. You filter out the noise and focus on the signal. This isn't about having less time. It's about finally using your time in alignment with who you really are and what brings you genuine satisfaction. Number 4. Changes in memory and cognitive processes. Carlton walked into the kitchen and stopped, completely forgetting why he'd come there. Names that used to come easily now required searching. Phone numbers once memorized now needed to be written down. At 84, the former engineer felt frustrated, as his once razor-sharp memory seemed to be failing him. He worried he was losing his mind, that his value as a thinker and problem solver was disappearing along with his ability to quickly recall details. What Carlton didn't realize was that his brain wasn't breaking down. It was reorganizing itself for a different kind of intelligence. Yes, his short-term memory and processing speed were slowing, but something remarkable was happening in exchange. His long-term memories were becoming more vivid and accessible. His ability to see patterns, connect experiences, and offer wisdom was actually increasing. This cognitive shift trades speed for depth. Your mind becomes less efficient at storing recent information like where you put your keys or what someone said 5 minutes ago, but it becomes extraordinarily skilled at drawing from decades of experience to solve complex problems and offer insights that younger, faster minds often miss. You're not losing intelligence. You're developing a different, more valuable kind of thinking. Carlton discovered this when a young engineer at his former company asked for his advice on a project. Though Carlton couldn't remember the technical specifications off the top of his head, he immediately saw the larger patterns that would make or break the project. His suggestions, based on decades of experience, helped the team avoid costly mistakes that their quick, detailed analysis had missed completely. His aged brain had become a powerful pattern recognition machine. The key is learning to work with this new cognitive style rather than against it. Externalize the details that once lived in your memory. Write things down. Use calendars and lists not as signs of failure, but as tools that free your mind for higher-level thinking. Focus your mental energy on activities that use pattern recognition, strategic thinking, mentoring others, planning complex projects, or engaging in meaningful conversations where your accumulated wisdom truly shines. Your brain at 80 isn't declining. It's specializing for the kind of deep insight that only comes with a lifetime of experience. Number 5. Unexpected freedom and authenticity. For 60 years, Constance dressed in muted colors and measured her words carefully, always mindful of her role as a pastor's wife. She attended every church function, agreed with her husband publicly even when she disagreed privately, and kept her artistic dreams locked away in a drawer. At 82, after her husband's passing, she found herself standing in her closet full of beige and navy clothes, feeling like a stranger in her own life. Then something unexpected happened. The weight of others' expectations began lifting from her shoulders. The professional obligations were gone. The need to maintain a certain image faded. The pressure to please everyone else dissolved. For the first time in decades, Constance faced a question she'd almost forgotten existed. What did she actually want? What brought her joy? Who was she when nobody was watching? This liberation happens whether you expect it or not. At 80, most of the external pressures that shaped your choices for decades simply disappear. You no longer need to prove your worth through career achievements. The parenting duties have evolved. The social status games lose their power. What emerges in this space is something precious: the freedom to live authentically. Perhaps for the first time in your adult life, Constance's transformation amazed everyone who knew her. She bought bright scarves and colorful jewelry. She set up an easel in her living room and began painting bold, vibrant canvases. She spoke her mind in conversations, sharing opinions she'd kept hidden for years. She joined a book club where her insights sparkled with wit and intelligence that had been suppressed too long. Her family watched in wonder as she became more interesting, more fun, and more genuinely herself than they'd ever seen her. This authenticity doesn't just change you, it transforms your relationships. People are drawn to genuine expression. Your connections become more real because they're built on truth rather than performance. Even your family relationships often improve as relatives discover who you really are beneath the roles you played for so many years. You have permission now to organize your life around what energizes you rather than what seems appropriate. This freedom, combined with the wisdom of your years, can make your 80s not just meaningful, but genuinely exciting in ways your younger self never imagined possible. These 5 changes aren't happening to you, they're happening for you. Your body isn't breaking down at 80. It's becoming more efficient. Your social world isn't shrinking. It's refining itself into something richer than you ever imagined. Your mind isn't failing. It's trading speed for the kind of wisdom that can only come from 8 decades of living. When you embrace these shifts, instead of fighting them, something beautiful unfolds. You discover energy you didn't know you still had, relationships deeper than any you've experienced, and a freedom to be authentically yourself that might be the greatest gift of your entire life. Lucille found her vitality. Eugene discovered meaningful friendship. Ruby reclaimed her joy. Carlton recognized his wisdom. Constance burst into her true colors. You have a choice right now. You can see these changes as losses to mourn, or as adaptations to celebrate. You can apologize for who you're becoming, or you can embrace the person you were always meant to be. Your 80s don't have to be about decline. They can be about depth, purpose, and a kind of satisfaction that surprises everyone, including yourself. Which of these truths did you most need to hear today? I'd love to know in the comments below. If this helped you see your own changes in a new light, please share it with someone who needs this message. Together, we're rewriting what it means to grow older. Next week, We'll explore the unexpected joys that come with simplifying your life after 70. Until then, remember, you're not aging, you're evolving.